On an ordinary morning in Providence, Rhode Island, the municipal courtroom on Dorrance Street fills with the usual crowd. Traffic violations, parking disputes, the routine business of urban justice. Behind the bench sits Frank Caprio, a judge whose reputation extends far beyond this small New England city. For decades, he's presided over cases with a blend of wisdom and warmth that has made him a local legend. But today, something different is about to unfold, a moment so unexpected that it will ripple across millions of screens worldwide. Frank Caprio didn't become beloved by accident. The son of Italian immigrants, he grew up understanding hardship, understanding that circumstances shape lives in ways courtrooms don't always recognize. His approach to justice is simple: see the person, not just the violation. Listen before you rule. Compassion doesn't mean abandoning the law, it means applying it with humanity. This philosophy has transformed his courtroom into something rare in the American legal system, a place where people feel heard, where dignity isn't checked at the door. When the small boy entered the courtroom that day, heads turned. Children are unusual here. Municipal court typically deals with adults and their infractions. He walked beside a parent, his small frame dwarfed by the formal architecture of justice. The gallery watched as he approached the bench, uncertain why he was here. What case could possibly involve someone so young? Judge Caprio noticed immediately. He's seen thousands of defendants, but something about this child's presence shifted the room's energy. The judge leaned forward, ready to understand. The case wasn't about the boy himself, it involved a family member, a parking violation or minor traffic matter. But the child had come alone, perhaps because childcare wasn't available, perhaps because the family wanted him to see how the system works. Whatever the reason, he stood there now, small hands clasped, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. The formality of it all, the raised bench, the state seal, the quiet authority that fills courtrooms. For most children, this would be intimidating. But Judge Caprio has a gift for putting people at ease. Judge Caprio looked down at the young visitor and did what he always does: he saw a human being worthy of attention. He paused the proceedings, the adult case momentarily set aside. His voice softened, the way it does when he addresses children. There's a technique to speaking with young people in formal settings: you have to cross the distance, break through the intimidation, create a space where they feel safe to be themselves. Caprio understands this instinctively. He smiled, a genuine warmth that has disarmed thousands, and prepared to ask a question. What Judge Caprio asked was disarmingly simple. Not a legal question, not an interrogation, just a friendly inquiry, the kind an adult might pose to any child they meet. Perhaps he asked about school, about the boy's interests, about what he wanted to be when he grew up. The exact wording has been shared and reshared across social media, but what matters is the spirit of it: genuine curiosity, an invitation to conversation. The courtroom fell silent, waiting. These moments, when Caprio steps outside the script of formal proceedings, are when magic happens. What happened next is why this moment became legendary. The boy answered, his voice small but clear, carrying through the hushed courtroom. His response wasn't what anyone expected, not rehearsed, not coached, but utterly genuine. It revealed a perspective, a wisdom, or perhaps an innocence that cut through the usual courtroom atmosphere like sunlight through clouds. The gallery stirred. People leaned forward. Judge Caprio's expression shifted, surprise and delight playing across his features. Even the court officers, accustomed to routine, found themselves caught off guard by the child's words. Laughter rippled through the gallery, not mocking, but delighted. The kind of laughter that comes from unexpected joy, from the relief of tension breaking. Judge Caprio himself chuckled, shaking his head with the wonder of someone who's been surprised after decades of thinking he'd seen everything. Court staff exchanged glances, smiles spreading. Even the bailiff, typically stoic, couldn't suppress a grin. In that instant, the formal machinery of justice paused, and something deeply human took its place. A child had reminded everyone present why compassion matters, why we gather in these rooms in the first place. This wasn't just a cute moment, though it was certainly that. It represented something larger about Judge Caprio's entire approach to justice. By engaging with the child, by treating him as worthy of attention and conversation, Caprio demonstrated what sets his courtroom apart: the recognition that law serves people, not the other way around. That even in the middle of official proceedings, there's room for humanity, for connection, for acknowledging that the people who enter this space are more than case numbers. The boy's answer became a mirror, reflecting back the heart of Caprio's philosophy. When the video of this exchange appeared online, it spread like wildfire. Millions of views within days, shared across every platform, commented on in dozens of languages. People were hungry for this, for proof that kindness still exists in institutions often perceived as cold and impersonal. The clip became one of countless Caprio moments that have turned Caught in Providence into a phenomenon. But this one stood out. Perhaps because the boy's innocence was so disarming, or because in increasingly divisive times, a simple moment of human connection felt like water in a desert. Frank Caprio's fame is a curious thing. He's a municipal court judge in a mid-sized American city, yet his reach rivals that of national media personalities. The reason is simple: authenticity. In an age of performance and posturing, Caprio is unfailingly genuine. He doesn't play to cameras, the cameras simply capture who he is. His interactions with defendants, whether they're hardened repeat offenders or nervous first-timers, carry the same warmth, the same effort to understand context and circumstance. The boy in the courtroom got the same Caprio everyone gets, the real one. What Judge Caprio practices is sometimes called restorative justice, though he might not use that term himself. It's justice that asks not just what law was broken, but what circumstances led here, and what resolution serves everyone best. When he questions defendants, he's genuinely listening, looking for the story behind the violation. A single mother working 3 jobs who accumulated parking tickets. An elderly man confused by changing parking signs. A young person making a first mistake. And sometimes, a child offering an answer that reminds us why any of this matters at all. That young boy likely didn't understand, in the moment, that his words would travel so far. He was simply being himself, answering a friendly question from a kind adult. But his answer, whatever it was, became part of a larger narrative about what justice can be when administered with compassion. It joined countless other Caprio moments that have collectively changed how millions of people think about courts and judges. The boy showed up for someone else's case and ended up teaching a lesson about authenticity, about the wisdom that sometimes comes from unexpected sources. The numbers tell part of the story. Caught in Providence has accumulated hundreds of millions of views across platforms. Judge Caprio's most popular clips have individually reached tens of millions of people. The show has fans on every continent, translated and subtitled in languages from Arabic to Mandarin. But statistics only capture reach, not impact. What they don't measure is how many people saw these videos and thought differently about justice, about authority, about the possibility of compassion in formal institutions. Or how many felt seen, validated, reminded of their own dignity. The story of Judge Caprio and the boy teaches several lessons. First, that authority and kindness aren't mutually exclusive. Caprio maintains order and upholds the law while treating people with dignity. Second, that listening matters more than we often recognize. The judge's willingness to pause and engage created space for an unexpected moment of connection. Third, that children have wisdom to offer when we create environments where they feel safe to share it. And finally, that the smallest gestures, a question, a smile, genuine attention, can ripple outward in ways we never anticipate. Judge Caprio continues to preside in Providence, still greeting each defendant with the same warmth, still looking for the humanity in every case. The boy who stunned the courtroom has surely grown older, though his moment of viral fame remains frozen in time, replayed and reshared. New videos appear regularly, new moments of compassion and unexpected connection. Because this isn't a story about one perfect moment, it's about a philosophy practiced daily, a commitment to seeing people first and violations second. The viral clips are windows into something larger, a different way of administering justice. In the end, we're left with questions that extend beyond one courtroom exchange. What would our institutions look like if more people in positions of authority approached their work the way Frank Caprio does? What if every judge, every official, every person with power over others' lives committed to seeing the human being before them? The boy's answer stunned the court not because it was calculated or clever, but because it was authentically human and it met a judge who values humanity above all. That collision of innocence and wisdom, of youth and experience, created a moment that continues to resonate. It reminds us what's possible when we choose compassion, when we ask questions not to interrogate but to understand, when we create space for unexpected answers. The courtroom on Dorrance Street looks like any other. But what happens there, day after day, suggests that justice can be something more than we've settled for, something gentler, wiser, and profoundly more human.